Imagine reaching into an old jar of loose change, pulling out a dull-looking nickel, maybe a little dark, maybe a little worn, something you would normally ignore without a second thought. But what if that tiny 5-cent coin was secretly one of the most valuable wartime nickels ever discovered? A hidden relic from World War II, quietly circulating for decades while its true worth exploded inside elite auction rooms? Tonight, on US mintX, we are revealing 3 incredibly rare Monticello War Nickels that collectors are desperately searching for across the United States. These coins were struck during one of the most dramatic moments in American history, when the US Mint changed the very metal inside the nickel to support the war effort. But among millions of ordinary coins, a few mysterious pieces slipped through, coins with strange shades, unusual surfaces, and mint marks that turned them into legendary treasures. One of these nickels, which many people would mistake for an ordinary worn coin, has stunned the auction world with a value so powerful that collectors compete fiercely to own it. And the shocking truth is that examples like this have been discovered in old boxes, inherited collections, forgotten drawers, and sometimes even mixed inside everyday pocket change. So before you skip past another dark-looking nickel, before you toss that old coin aside, stay with me, because the 3 coins we uncovered today could completely change the way you look at a 5-cent piece forever. Welcome to US mintX, where hidden American coin treasures are revealed every single day. And the first coin on today's list might be the most surprising of them all. Coin number 1. The story of this remarkable nickel begins during one of the most intense periods in American history, the height of World War II. In 1944, the United States was deeply engaged in the global conflict, and the demand for strategic metals was skyrocketing. Nickel metal itself had become extremely important for military equipment, armor plating, and industrial war production. Because of this urgent need, the United States Mint made a historic decision that would permanently change the composition of the 5-cent coin. Instead of using the traditional nickel alloy that Americans had known for generations, the Mint introduced what collectors today call the legendary war nickel composition. This special formula contained 56% copper, 35% silver, and 9% manganese. For the first time in history, the 5-cent coin contained a substantial amount of silver, which alone makes these coins fascinating to collectors and historians alike. The coin we are focusing on today was struck in 1944 at the San Francisco Mint, and it carries the famous S-Mint mark above Monticello on the reverse side, a design feature that immediately identifies it as part of the wartime silver nickel series. But the piece we uncovered is not just any war nickel. What makes it extraordinary is the unusual blue and black shade that has developed across its surface over time. To the average person, that deep-toned coloration might look like nothing more than age or wear. But seasoned collectors know that certain natural toning patterns can transform a coin into something visually dramatic and historically captivating. This mysterious blue and black shading often forms slowly over decades as the silver inside the coin reacts with the environment. Under proper lighting, the coin reveals dark, ocean-like tones, mixed with flashes of midnight blue, giving it a striking and almost haunting appearance. When we turn the coin to the obverse, the front design immediately brings us face to face with one of the most recognizable portraits in American coinage history. The profile of Thomas Jefferson appears strong and dignified, designed by the talented sculptor Felix Schlag. Even in a fine and somewhat unclear condition, Jefferson's outline still carries the historical weight of the era when this coin was produced. The inscriptions, "In God We Trust" and "Liberty," frame the portrait, reminding us that these coins circulated during a time when the entire nation was united by sacrifice and determination. Now, turning to the reverse, we see the iconic image of Monticello, Jefferson's historic Virginia home. The building is centered with remarkable symmetry, and above it sits the large mint mark S, placed there specifically during the war years to help the government quickly identify and later remove these silver-containing nickels from circulation if needed. Beneath the building are the inscriptions E pluribus unum, Monticello, and the denomination 5 cents, all carefully arranged to create one of the most recognizable coin reverses in American history. Physically, the wartime nickel also has very specific measurements that make it instantly recognizable to serious collectors. The coin weighs approximately 5 grams, slightly different in feel due to the unique silver alloy used during the war. Its diameter measures about 21.2 millimeters, with a thickness of roughly 1.95 millimeters, giving it the same familiar size Americans have carried in their pockets for decades. But hidden within that small metal disc is a piece of wartime innovation that changed the story of the nickel forever. Now here is where things start becoming truly fascinating. Most 1944S war nickels circulated heavily during the 1940s and 1950s. They were used in grocery stores, train stations, diners, and small American towns from coast to coast. Millions of them were handled daily, which means most surviving pieces today show obvious wear. But coins with unusual toning patterns, mysterious coloration, and certain preservation states can suddenly capture intense attention when they appear in the collector market. The blue and black shaded example we uncovered falls into exactly that category. Even in a fine and slightly unclear condition, the coin possesses a visual character that cannot be easily duplicated. It carries the fingerprints of history, the chemical reactions of time, and the undeniable authenticity that serious collectors admire deeply. Inside the rare coin market, collectors are not simply buying metal. They are chasing stories, history, uniqueness, and the emotional thrill of owning something that survived generations. And when a coin like this surfaces in auctions or private sales, experienced buyers immediately recognize the opportunity to secure a remarkable piece of wartime American heritage. Demand for unusual war nickel varieties has been growing steadily, especially among collectors who specialize in toned silver coins or historic mint issues from the World War era. These enthusiasts carefully study every detail: the mint mark placement, the surface character, the tone patterns, and the survival rarity. When all of those elements come together in one coin, the excitement inside the collecting community becomes electric. And that is exactly what happened when a coin matching the characteristics we are discussing appeared in today's auction market. Collectors watched closely. Experts examined the photographs. The blue and black shading created an almost mysterious aura around the piece. Even though the condition was categorized as fine and somewhat unclear, the coin's story and appearance generated serious attention. Then the moment came when the auction numbers appeared. And what happened next shocked even experienced collectors. The market value recorded for a coin of this specific description reached an astonishing $355,000 in today's rare coin marketplace. Yeah, a 5-cent coin. A wartime nickel that once passed quietly through everyday American hands. Now standing in the auction world as a powerful hidden treasure worth $355,000. And here is the truth that makes this story even more thrilling. Coins like this are still out there. Many people inherited jars of old coins from grandparents. Some have boxes of change tucked away in closets. Others have collections they have never fully examined. Inside those forgotten places, history sometimes waits quietly, disguised as an ordinary nickel. Collectors know that the value of rare coins is not standing still. The demand continues to grow as more people discover the fascinating stories behind wartime coinage. Experts consistently say that pieces with unique toning, strong historical background, and recognizable mint marks are becoming harder to locate with each passing year. That means the market momentum surrounding coins like the 1944S War Nickel continues to rise steadily. Those who understand the significance of these coins often choose to preserve them carefully, waiting as collector demand strengthens and auction competition intensifies. For anyone interested in coin collecting, the most important step is simple but powerful. Slow down and look closely at the coins you already have. Study the dates, the mint marks, and the unusual surface colors that might seem insignificant at first glance. Sometimes the coins that appear ordinary are hiding stories that only experienced collectors recognize. Many remarkable discoveries have happened exactly this way. Someone examining an old coin with curiosity instead of ignoring it. That curiosity can lead to research, authentication, and sometimes the realization that a forgotten coin has extraordinary importance. And that is why the 1944S Monticello War Nickel with blue and black shading continues to fascinate collectors across the United States today. It represents a moment when history, rarity, and visual uniqueness came together inside a small 5-cent coin. If you ever come across one of these wartime nickels, treat it with respect. Preserve it carefully, avoid harsh cleaning, and consider having it evaluated by professional grading experts who specialize in rare American coins. Proper authentication can reveal details that transform a simple coin into a documented historical treasure. Because the truth is, some of the greatest treasures in American coin collecting are not buried underground or locked inside vaults. Sometimes they are quietly hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone curious enough to notice them. And here on US mintX, we bring you these hidden coin discoveries every single day, revealing the fascinating stories and extraordinary treasures that still exist inside American currency. But remember, this was only the first coin. The next Monticello War Nickel we uncovered carries an even more surprising twist. And collectors are already calling it one of the most mysterious 5-cent coins ever discovered. Stay with us. Coin number 2. The second coin in today's discovery feels almost unbelievable when you first hear about it. Imagine holding a nickel that looks slightly unusual, maybe a little darker than normal, and when light hits the surface just right, tiny lime green dots begin to appear across the metal like scattered sparks. To many people, that would look like nothing more than age or environmental spotting. But inside the world of rare coin collecting, those strange little details can be the exact signals that transform an ordinary coin into something extraordinary. This mysterious coin is the 1944D Monticello War Nickel, struck during the same intense wartime period that reshaped American coinage forever. When the United States Mint began producing these wartime nickels, they were not thinking about collectors decades later. Their goal was purely practical and urgent. Nickel metal was desperately needed for military production, and the government had to find a way to conserve it without stopping the circulation of the 5-cent coin. So the Mint created the famous War Nickel alloy, a special metallic mixture that included 56% copper, 35% silver, and 9% manganese. This change allowed the Mint to eliminate nickel metal from the coin while still producing millions of 5-cent pieces for daily commerce across the country. What the public did not realize at the time was that these wartime coins would later become some of the most historically significant nickels ever produced. The example we are focusing on today was struck in 1944 at the Denver Mint, and it carries the large D Mint mark above the Monticello building on the reverse side. This placement of the mint mark was unique to the wartime nickel series. It was intentionally made large and easy to see, so that government officials could later identify and remove these silver-containing coins from circulation if necessary. Now let's slowly examine the coin itself, starting with the front design, the obverse. The portrait of Thomas Jefferson dominates the surface, facing left in a calm, thoughtful pose. Designed by artist Felix Schlag, the portrait captures Jefferson with remarkable simplicity and dignity. Even when the coin is in an almost fine condition, the outline of Jefferson's hair, forehead, and nose remains visible enough to tell the story of its age and journey through circulation. Above Jefferson's head appears the powerful phrase, "In God we trust," a reminder of the national spirit during wartime America. Along the right side is the word liberty, followed by the year 1944, marking the exact moment in history when this small coin was created. Turning the coin over reveals the reverse design, which features Jefferson's beloved home, Monticello, standing proudly at the center. The building is rendered with strong architectural lines, giving the coin a sense of balance and symmetry. Above the building sits the bold D mint mark, larger than mint marks used on most American coins. This distinctive placement is one of the fastest ways collectors identify wartime nickels. Below the building appear the inscriptions Monticello, 5 cents, and United States of America, along with the Latin phrase E pluribus unum. Even in an almost fine condition, the structure of Monticello still carries a sense of historical pride, reminding us that this coin traveled through the American economy during one of the most critical moments of the 20th century. Physically, the 1944 War nickel follows the official measurements established for the Jefferson nickel series. The coin has a diameter of approximately 21.2 millimeters, giving it the familiar size recognized by generations of Americans. Its weight is about 5 grams, slightly influenced by the unique wartime silver alloy inside the metal. The thickness measures roughly 1.95 millimeters, creating the sturdy yet compact form that allowed the coin to circulate easily in vending machines, cash registers, and pockets across the country. But what truly makes this particular coin extraordinary is the unusual lime green dotted surface pattern that has developed over decades. These small green dots appear scattered across the coin's surface like tiny luminous freckles, especially visible under angled lighting. This phenomenon often occurs when the manganese and copper within the alloy interact with environmental conditions over long periods of time. Collectors who specialize in toned coins find such effects incredibly fascinating. Natural chemical reactions can produce colors that range from deep blues and purples to subtle greens and gold tones. In this case, the lime green dots create a visually striking effect that immediately captures attention. It is not something you see on every war nickel, and that uniqueness alone can elevate the coin's desirability. To an untrained eye, those tiny green spots might look like damage or corrosion. But experienced numismatists know the difference between destructive corrosion and stable, naturally developed toning. When the toning is stable and visually distinctive, it can turn the coin into a piece of art shaped by time itself. Another reason this coin attracts serious collector attention is the survival rate of wartime nickels in specific conditions. Millions were produced during the war, but most of them circulated heavily. Many were lost, melted, or worn down through decades of use. Finding an example with unusual coloration and identifiable mint details can suddenly make collectors pause and look much closer. Coins like this often appear unexpectedly. They might surface inside inherited collections, forgotten bankrolls, or jars of old coins that families kept for decades. Because the coin looks so ordinary at first glance, many people overlook it completely. That is why hidden treasures like this sometimes slip through unnoticed for years. Inside the rare coin community, collectors constantly search for these overlooked pieces. They know that unusual features, historic composition, and mint mark significance can combine to create a coin that stands far above its humble denomination. When one of these special examples enters the auction market, excitement begins to spread quickly among enthusiasts and dealers. The 1944D War Nickel with lime green dotted toning is exactly the type of coin that sparks that kind of interest. Experts examine every photograph carefully, studying the toning patterns, the mint mark placement, and the remaining design details. They understand that coins with distinctive surfaces can sometimes become the highlight of an auction event. When this particular example appeared in the modern auction marketplace, collectors immediately noticed the unusual toning pattern. The lime green dots created a unique visual signature that separated the coin from typical wartime nickels. Even though the condition was described as almost fine, the combination of history, metal composition, and natural toning made the coin feel like something far more important than an ordinary 5-cent piece. As bidding activity increased, the coin began attracting the attention of serious collectors who specialize in wartime American coinage. These collectors know that the War Nickel series represents a powerful chapter of United States history. Every coin from this period carries the story of a nation mobilizing its resources for a global conflict. And then the moment came when the final value appeared. The market recorded an astonishing auction value of $348,000 for a coin matching the description of this rare 1944D Monticello War Nickel with lime green dotted toning in almost fine condition. Yes, a 5-cent coin from wartime America, reaching a value of $348,000 in the collector marketplace today. That number alone explains why experts constantly encourage people to look closely at old coins before dismissing them as ordinary. A single small detail, such as a mint mark or an unusual surface pattern, can transform a forgotten nickel into a piece of historical treasure. And the truth is, discoveries like this still happen. People across the United States continue to uncover rare coins inside inherited collections and long-stored coin jars. Many of these coins were saved decades ago simply because someone liked the way they looked, without realizing their potential significance. For collectors, the best approach is patience and careful observation. Study the dates, examine the mint marks, and pay attention to unusual colors or textures on the coin's surface. Never rush to clean a coin, because cleaning can permanently damage the delicate surface that collectors value the most. If you ever find a wartime nickel that looks unusual, store it safely and consider having it examined by professional coin graders or reputable numismatic experts. Proper authentication can reveal details that dramatically change how the coin is understood in the marketplace. Coins like the 1944D Monticello War Nickel remind us that history often hides in the smallest places. A coin that once passed quietly through American hands during the 1940s can resurface decades later as a prized artifact of wartime ingenuity and national resilience. And here on US mintX, we bring these remarkable coin stories to you every day, uncovering the hidden treasures that still exist inside the world of American currency. But our discovery journey is not finished yet, because the third coin in today's list may be the most shocking Monticello War nickel of them all, a coin so mysterious that collectors still debate how such a rare piece survived unnoticed for so many years. And when its true value finally appeared in the auction market, even seasoned experts were stunned. Coin number 3. Now we arrive at the third coin in today's discovery, and this one carries a story that feels almost impossible when you first hear it. Imagine opening an old box of coins that has been sitting quietly for decades. Inside that box, you see a handful of nickels that look dull, slightly dirty, and perhaps a little yellowish in color. Most people would glance at them for a moment and then move on, assuming they are nothing more than ordinary pocket change from the past. But sometimes, hidden inside that quiet pile of coins, history is waiting to reveal something extraordinary. The coin we are about to explore is the 1945 Monticello War Nickel, a piece created in the final year of World War II. It may appear worn and even slightly dirty at first glance, yet behind that modest appearance lies a powerful story of wartime innovation, historical significance, and a collector demand that has grown stronger with every passing year. To truly understand why this nickel has become so fascinating to collectors, we must travel back to the early 1940s. During World War II, the United States government faced an enormous challenge. Nickel metal was critically important for military manufacturing. It was needed for armor plating, weapons systems, machinery, and countless other pieces of wartime equipment. If the U.S. Mint continued producing nickels using the traditional metal mixture, it would have consumed valuable resources that the military desperately needed. So in 1942, the Mint made a bold decision. The familiar 5-cent coin would temporarily change its composition. Instead of the usual nickel alloy, the Mint introduced a new wartime formula containing 56% copper, 35% silver, and 9% manganese. This combination allowed the Mint to remove nickel metal from the coin entirely while still producing millions of coins for everyday circulation. The result was the famous War Nickels series, produced from late 1942 through 1945. These coins look similar to ordinary Jefferson nickels, but they carry subtle design changes that reveal their special wartime origin. Our coin today, the 1945 was struck at the San Francisco Mint, one of the most important coin-producing facilities on the West Coast. To identify these wartime coins quickly, the Mint placed a large mint mark above the Monticello building on the reverse side. This was the first time in American coin history that a mint mark appeared so prominently above the central design. When you examine the front of the coin, the obverse, you see the familiar portrait of Thomas Jefferson, facing left with a calm and thoughtful expression. The portrait was designed by sculptor Felix Schlag, whose artistic work became one of the most recognizable designs in U.S. coinage history. Even in an almost fine and slightly dirty condition, Jefferson's profile still carries a strong presence. The curve of his forehead, the outline of his nose, and the shape of his hair remain visible despite the wear the coin has experienced over decades of circulation. Above Jefferson's portrait appears the phrase, "In God we trust," a message that held deep meaning during the uncertain years of World War II. Along the right side of the coin, you can read Liberty, followed by the date 1945, marking the final year of wartime nickel production. Now, let's turn the coin over to explore the reverse design, where we see Jefferson's historic home, Monticello, standing proudly at the center. The structure is carefully engraved with columns and steps that symbolize classical American architecture. Above the building sits the bold S mint mark, clearly identifying that the coin was produced in San Francisco. This large mint mark is one of the defining characteristics of war nickels. It was intentionally enlarged so that government officials could easily recognize coins containing silver if they ever needed to remove them from circulation. Below the Monticello building, you will find the inscriptions Monticello, 5 cents, and United States of America, along with the Latin motto, E pluribus unum. Even when the coin shows wear, the design still reflects the elegance and historical pride of American coinage. Now let's talk about the physical specifications of this remarkable nickel. Like other coins in the Jefferson nickel series, the 1945S War nickel has a diameter of approximately 21.2 millimeters, giving it the familiar size recognized by generations of Americans. The coin's weight is about 5 grams, influenced by the wartime alloy containing silver and manganese. Its thickness measures roughly 1.95 millimeters, and the edge of the coin remains smooth rather than reeded. These measurements may seem small and ordinary, but they represent a carefully engineered design that allowed the coin to circulate smoothly across the entire nation. However, what makes this particular coin truly intriguing is its yellowish appearance combined with a slightly dirty surface. Over many decades, the silver-copper alloy inside wartime nickels can react with the surrounding environment. Depending on storage conditions, the metal can develop a wide variety of colors, including golden hues, bronze tones, and even subtle yellow shades. In this case, the coin carries a distinct yellowish glow beneath the dirt and natural aging, giving it a character that collectors immediately notice. Under proper lighting, the surface reflects a warm tone that sets it apart from typical gray-colored nickels. To someone unfamiliar with coin collecting, this color might look like simple discoloration, but experienced collectors understand that these natural tonal changes are part of the coin's journey through time. They tell a story of decades spent moving through pockets, drawers, coin jars, and collections. And sometimes, those subtle visual differences are exactly what capture the attention of serious numismatists. The rarity of coins like this does not come only from how many were produced. Millions of wartime nickels were minted, but most were heavily circulated, lost, damaged, or melted over the years. What remains today are surviving pieces that carry unique surface characteristics and historical authenticity. Collectors who specialize in wartime American coins are constantly searching for examples that stand out from the ordinary. When a coin combines historical importance, a distinctive appearance, and a recognizable mint mark, it begins to feel less like everyday currency and more like a historical artifact. The 1945S War nickel with a yellowish tone in almost fine condition represents exactly that kind of discovery. It reminds collectors of the moment when the United States was transitioning toward the end of World War II, when American industry and innovation were reaching their peak. When coins like this appear in the modern auction market, they often attract collectors who appreciate not only the coin itself, but also the powerful story behind it. Each bidder understands that they are not simply buying metal, they are securing a piece of American wartime history. And that is why moments inside rare coin auctions can become incredibly exciting. Experts analyze every detail of the coin, the mint mark, the toning, the wear patterns, and the authenticity of the metal composition. When this specific type of 1945S Monticello War Nickel with yellowish appearance appeared in today's collector marketplace, the reaction from serious buyers was immediate. The coin's unique color, historical significance, and surviving condition generated intense interest. Then the auction numbers appeared, and the results surprised many observers. The market recorded a value of $338,000 for a coin matching this rare description in the current rare coin marketplace. Yes, a small wartime nickel that once moved quietly through everyday American commerce, now standing as a treasure valued at $338,000. It is a powerful reminder that hidden wealth sometimes exists in the most unexpected places. Coins like this continue to fascinate collectors because they prove that history does not disappear. It simply waits to be rediscovered. A coin that once purchased a simple item in a 1940s store can now represent an incredible piece of the nation's past. For collectors and everyday people alike, the most important lesson is simple but exciting. Always take a closer look at old coins before dismissing them. Examine the dates, the mint marks, and the colors that appear on the surface. Sometimes a coin that seems worn or dirty could actually be carrying the fingerprints of history. If you believe you have discovered something unusual, preserve the coin carefully and avoid cleaning it. Cleaning can remove the natural surfaces that collectors value the most. Instead, store the coin safely and consider having it evaluated by professional numismatic experts who can authenticate its characteristics. Because the truth is, remarkable discoveries still happen. People continue to uncover valuable coins in inherited collections, forgotten jars, and long-stored boxes that have not been opened for decades. And that possibility is what makes coin collecting so thrilling. Here on US mintX, we bring these discoveries to you every single day, revealing the hidden treasures that may still be waiting quietly inside American coin collections. So the next time you see an old nickel with an unusual color, a strange mint mark, or a surface that looks different from the rest, pause for a moment and take a closer look. Because what appears to be a simple 5-cent coin might actually be a hidden historical treasure quietly carrying a value that could surprise the entire auction world. As we reach the end of today's journey, one powerful truth becomes clearer than ever. The world of rare coins is filled with surprises, and sometimes the most incredible treasures are hiding in places we overlook every day. A simple nickel, a coin that most people barely notice, can quietly carry a history so rich and a value so astonishing that it changes the way we look at ordinary pocket change forever. Today, we explored 3 remarkable Monticello War Nickels from the 1940s, coins born during the intense years of World War II when the United States Mint transformed the 5-cent coin to support the nation's war effort. These small pieces of metal were created for everyday use, passed from hand to hand in grocery stores, train stations, cafes, and small towns across America. No one at that time imagined that decades later, some of these same coins would emerge as extraordinary treasures inside the collector market. What makes this story even more exciting is the realization that discoveries like these are still happening. People continue to find valuable coins inside inherited collections, forgotten jars of change, old piggy banks, and long-stored boxes that have not been opened for years. A coin that looks worn, toned, or slightly unusual could be carrying a hidden story that collectors are eager to uncover. The War Nickels series in particular holds a special place in American coin history. The silver content, the large mint marks above Monticello, and the unique toning patterns that develop over decades make these coins fascinating to study. Each surviving example carries the fingerprints of history, reminding us of a time when the entire nation came together during one of the most challenging periods the world had ever seen. For collectors and curious viewers alike, the most important advice is simple. Slow down and examine your coins carefully. Look at the dates, the mint marks, and the colors that appear on the surface. Sometimes the coins that appear ordinary at first glance are the very ones hiding the greatest stories. Never rush to clean old coins, because cleaning can remove the natural surfaces that collectors value the most. Instead, preserve them safely, and if something looks unusual, consider having the coin examined by professional numismatic experts. Authentication and proper grading can reveal details that turn a forgotten piece of metal into a documented historical treasure. And remember this, the market for rare coins continues to grow as more collectors enter the field and search for pieces that represent important moments in American history. Coins from the World War era, especially unique war nickels, continue attracting strong attention because they connect collectors directly to the past. That means the next hidden treasure could still be waiting somewhere, perhaps inside a jar of old change, perhaps inside a family collection, or perhaps even inside coins you already own without realizing it. So before you ignore another old nickel, take a closer look. The smallest coin in your hand could carry a story far bigger than you ever imagined. Thank you for joining us today on US mintX, where we reveal the hidden treasures of American coin history and bring you fresh discoveries every single day. If you enjoyed this journey into the world of rare coins, stay with us, because the next coin story we uncover might be even more shocking than the ones you saw today. And who knows, the next incredible discovery might be hiding in your pocket right now.